Ladies and gentlemen, would we all please rise for the playing of our national anthem? Flags to your right. Thank you. Please be seated. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this auspicious occasion in the lives of our George Mason High School seniors. We extend an especially warm welcome to the friends and family of the seniors. We know that some of you have traveled great distances to be with us this evening. We're confident that you'll find it worth the travel. I am joined on stage by George Mason valedictory scholars and speakers Janae Baumgardner, and Johnny Vroom. We are greatly honored by the presence of and the participation of General Counsel for the Department of Energy, Mr. Scott Harris. Also joining us on stage are Senior Class President, Johnny Vroom again, Senior Class Vice President, Tony Armstrong, Senior Class Secretary, Shelby Taylor, Senior Class Treasurer, Carlos Clark, Superintendent, Dr. Lois Berlin, School Board Chair, Mr. Ron Pepe, Assistant Principal, Mr. Tim Guy, Assistant Principal, Dr. Mary McDowell, Assistant Principal, Mr. Ken Siekman, Director of Counseling, Ms. Amy Krajanowicz, Senior Class Advisors, Mr. Brad McAdam and Mr. Elby Adekulil, Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Gloria Guba, Director of Special Education, Dr. Barbara Badatoy, Band Director, Ms. Mary Jo Webster, and her awesome George Mason High School Symphonic Band. I now invite the class secretary, Shelby Taylor, to come forward and welcome you on behalf of her fellow seniors.
Good evening, parents, families, teachers, and staff of George Mason High School, and last but not least, fellow graduates. My name is Shelby Iris Taylor, the Class 2009 Secretary. On behalf of the Class of 2009, I would like to welcome all of you to tonight's commencement exercises. This is a very special day for all of us gathered here. We have been working and striving hard towards this important moment and waiting anxiously for it to arrive. Members of the Class of 2009 of George Mason High School are now ready to go into the world and begin a new journey. Congratulations, fellow classmates, we did it! It is now my sincere pleasure to introduce the school board chair, Mr. Ron Pepe, who will bring greetings from the board.
Well, thank you, and good afternoon to everyone. It's interesting being able to stand up here and look at the graduating class for a change. Normally, you're back behind us here, and it's interesting because I've heard a little bit about the traditions. Even though you all have never graduated before, you have a strong sense of the traditions, and we're a little concerned about that, so it's good that it worked out. I'm here today to bring you greetings and congratulations from the school board. And you might be thinking, well, that's nice, but why do I care? Why don't you just give me the diploma? Or you might be thinking, who or what is the school board? Of course, you might already know what the school board is, because how many times during your career as public school students have you had a teacher or staff or someone tell you, well, I'm sorry, we just can't do that, it's against school board policy? I hear it at home around the dinner table too. That stupid school board said we can't skip 6 classes this quarter or whatever. That's right, that's what the school board does. We make those policies. Now, I've actually spoken at a number of graduations over the years, and the first time was at my very own high school graduation 30 years ago. Might have been today. It was 30 years ago this week. You kind of lose track. Now, back then, my job was pretty much the same as it is now. I was supposed to get up, say a very few words, very few, introduce the superintendent, and sit down without causing any trouble. So I walked on stage. I had a rebellious speech in my hand. I said, I'm going to let them know what I think. I'm graduating. I'm getting out of here, and I'm going to talk. I look at the audience and I realize my mother's sitting there. So I thought, I better think twice about this. Then I looked and saw the superintendent was sitting there and realized they hadn't handed me the diploma yet, so I better be a little careful. And the superintendent's daughter was in my class and there were some issues there too, so I thought I better behave. So this morning I said, it's 30 years later, I'm chair of the school board, I can come out here, I can say something rebellious, I could really embarrass my daughter. And I said, I'm no longer afraid of the superintendent, but then I realized, because my daughter's here, her grandparents are here. And you know what that means? It means my mother's sitting out here, so I gotta be careful what I say. So forget about rebellious. I'll have to stick to the script and bring you greetings from the school board. Now, I used to prepare for this by getting online and saying, let me find a quote to tell you what a school board does. Even with all the search engines we have now, we didn't have that 30 years ago, there's only one quote I can ever find about school boards if you type it in, and it's a quote from Mark Twain, supposedly. And according to this, it is, in the first place, God made idiots, that was for practice, then he made school boards. I don't know if he really said that, but that's what it says online, so that's probably not very good advice. I also have to be careful when I give advice because of some of the things we've said over the years. So aside from providing amusing and annoying limitations on the students, what does the school board actually do? Well, school boards actually go back to the 17th century, believe it or not. It's one of the first forms of government we had in this country where the idea was that the community gets together and has a say in what happens in schools. What does the school board actually do? We sit around, people in the community come in and tell us what they want to do. We argue a lot. And everybody gets to weigh in, and at the end of the day, we try and come up with something. You may have also heard this referred to as the Falls Church Way. Now, some people roll their eyes and say the Falls Church Way means lots of meetings, lots of discussions, lots of flip-flopping, and not a lot of action. And the reality is, think about your own experiences right now. You've just gotten through student government, through sports teams, through different clubs you belong to, and you probably do sort of the same thing. You get together, you argue, you listen to everything, but at the end of the day, you probably come up with something and you make it happen. And I've seen this class at work, and I know you do make it happen. So the one piece of advice I can give you is based on that experience, you're qualified to be on a school board. You might want to go for it. The other question I was going to answer for you is, why does the school board adopt all those policies? You've probably been wondering why we say, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. Well, what the school board really does is we try and figure out what the community wants to happen in the schools, and we try and gather the resources and spend the resources carefully so you can get here today. That's really what it's all about. And getting you here today was the whole point. It takes a big investment by the entire community here in Falls Church in your education. And we are very fortunate here in Falls Church that the community values education and they're willing to make that investment in you. And from knowing a lot of you and seeing you here today, I know that it paid off. And that's why we're here today, to congratulate you and wish you to move on. So to sum things up, everybody's supposed to give you a piece of advice before you get out of here. It's the last chance we get to tell you something before you're on your own while you're a captive audience. I really have to be careful with the advice part because about 10 years ago this week, I spoke at my own high school graduation, the school I graduated from. I got to go back because I was on the school board there, and I gave some advice that involved Britney Spears and Eminem. Now, when I sat down, the superintendent looked at me and said, "Em and who?" He didn't know what I was talking about, but they all agreed Britney Spears was a model of wholesomeness, so it was some pretty good advice at the time. So shows you things can change a little over 10 years, and if you want to hear the rest of that story, I'll tell you later. So we won't get any celebrity references that can get me in trouble. We'll stick with the basics. Since the school board represents the community, it seems appropriate to note that while the schools did a lot to shape who you are and what you did here, we don't get the credit. The biggest determinant of your getting here and the future success you're going to have in life really has to do with what you bring from home, really what your parents tell you, the role models they are, and the things they teach you. Even when you're rolling your eyes when they're giving you advice, believe it or not, it's going to have a big effect on the rest of your lives. And that's why the best advice I can give you today, and this is what somebody told me once, is whenever you make a decision in life, think about whether you'd want your mother to know that or not. That's usually a pretty good way to put it in perspective. And I'm going to put a little bit of twist on that today because you can also think about 30 years later, you might be standing here wondering what your daughter thinks about you. So keep that in mind, and good luck and congratulations. Next up, we have Dr. Lois Berlin, the superintendent of schools. Many of you know Dr. Berlin, and I'm going to turn it over to her.
Thank you. Good afternoon and congratulations, class of 2009. It's an honor for me to share your graduation with you. It seems like yesterday that I was sitting where you are today in this grand historic building celebrating my high school graduation. It floors me to realize that it was nearly 40 years ago. Parents, as you look at our graduates, I know you can relate to thinking, where did the time go? It seems like just yesterday you were teaching them their first words, wiping their tears when they fell, and encouraging them when they got back up again. Where did the time go? Class of 2009, your journey to date has been influenced by your first-grade teachers, your parents and guardians, and as a result, they gave you the opportunity to attend some of the finest public schools in the nation, and I think that deserves a round of applause. Class of 2009, throughout your existence, society has witnessed some extraordinary world events. The eldest of you were born when the nation was immersed in the first Gulf War. A man named George Bush was president, and consumers were just beginning to learn about the internet and email. By the time you were in kindergarten, a man named Bill Clinton was president. The dot-com industry was growing by leaps and bounds, and consumers were enamored with the prospects of e-commerce and email. By the time you were in middle school, another man named George Bush was president. The September 11th attacks had taken place, and our nation was involved in its second Gulf War. And by the time you were in high school, Web 1.0 gave way to new terms like Google, wikis, and blogs. Cell phones became all-in-one portable computers, complete with photo, video, and texting capabilities. And how in the world did we survive without them? By the way, any of you checking your BlackBerries out there, put them away. The man who became president your senior year insisted he couldn't live without his BlackBerry. And Barack Obama's history-making journey to the White House reinforced what our parents always taught us, that all things are possible if you work hard enough. Today's Web 2.0 culture is quickly giving way to Web 3.0 and cloud, and the technological transformation is so rapid that some of what you learn in your first year of college may be dated by the time you graduate. The transformation is so rapid that while you're in college, you'll be building the foundation for jobs that don't even exist today. Class of 2009, yesterday is history, tomorrow is mystery, and today is a gift. I encourage you to make the most of each day as you pursue your future goals. Waste not a single nanosecond, for tomorrow you'll stand as your parents and I do today and wonder, where did the time go? Thank you. And now I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of the awards that have been given this year. The George Mason Scholar Award recognizes the outstanding academic achievement of our graduating seniors. This award is presented to students who have completed a high school program that includes a total of 25 credits, a cumulative grade point average of 3.85, and the following courses taken for letter grades: 4 years of social studies, 4 years of college preparatory math, 3 years of one foreign language or 2 years of 2 different foreign languages, 3 years of laboratory science, and international baccalaureate courses in 2 disciplines. This year, there are 36 students receiving this award. In the fall, these students will be attending the following post-secondary institutions: Brandeis University, Clark University, the College of William and Mary, Cornell University, Drexel University, Duke University, George Mason University, James Madison University, Macalester College, Point Park University, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, Shenandoah University, Skidmore College, the University of Toronto, the University of Virginia, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest University. The recipients of the George Mason Scholar Award will be recognized when they receive their diplomas. Finally, we recognize 22 students tonight who have earned the distinction of being named George Mason Valedictory Scholars by maintaining a cumulative grade point average of 4.0 or better throughout their high school years. They are wearing gold medallions this evening to signify their outstanding academic achievement. These recipients will also be recognized when they receive their diplomas. Thank you again, and congratulations, class of 2009. And I would now like to welcome to the stage, if I find my place here, our valedictory scholar speaker, Janine Baumgardner.
In 6th grade, Jonathan McHugh told me, high school is all about individuality. For that reason, he was going to start dressing like Jimi Hendrix once we began freshman year. Sadly, I never did see him in bell-bottoms, and I wasn't sure if I agreed with his assertion. When you looked around at homecoming dances, everyone sort of blended together. When you acted differently than most people, you sometimes got funny looks. High school seemed to be about a lot of things besides individuality. It was about stress, and it was about friends. It was sometimes about drama. It was about spending time on things we realized we loved, sports, or Model UN, or bands, or musicals, or just hanging around Falls Church and getting to know our city really well. High school was about change and about growth. Over the years, we had more and more freedom as our teachers placed more trust in us, and our parents slowly gave up on making rules for us. Some of us spent increasingly more time on the vast amount of homework we had, and some of us chose to spend increasingly less time on it. As a class, we failed less and less each year during Spirit Week. We matured, we got to know each other, and we discovered the things that made us individuals. Toward the end of last year, I was talking to some friends about my realization that everyone was astoundingly unique. I was made fun of for that comment. Of course, every person is unique, and it admittedly sounded cliche, but I said it because I was truly impressed by all of the people who I had recently gotten to know or talked to for the first time, spent more time with. I had great opportunities to spend time with unusual combinations of people, like when we had pancakes with our Spanish class during exam week, or when we were hanging around school late on a Friday afternoon and ran into other stragglers. As I got to know former acquaintances, I found that there was an unbelievable variety of personality traits, strengths, and quirks among my peers. This variety is beautiful. There's one girl who I first hung out with in kindergarten, back when we liked to dance around with tutus on our heads. She rarely speaks up in class, which is deceiving, because if you spend time with her, you'll learn that she's a vocal and outward-thinking person and an extremely caring and supportive friend. Then there's the lively boy with all the amusing ideas who brings his energy wherever he goes and refuses to be stereotyped. There's that nice girl who's seemingly good at everything, but you have to stop and get to know her to also realize the extent of her generosity, profound interest in learning, and capacity to always see the good in people. There's the really smart guy who spends a lot of time at the soundboard and leading robotics, whose laughter and sense of humor just make people feel good. Members of this class inspire me every day by giving what little spare time they have to service our community, smiling at everyone in the hallways, reaching out to younger students and new people, holding their heads high even when they are having problems at home, practicing their talents with the utmost passion, trying to make a difference even if change appears unlikely, not being afraid to stand up for their friends or their morals even when they're criticized. High school is supposed to be about learning, and I will proudly say that I have learned an enormous amount in my 4 years at George Mason. From my teachers, I have learned about the body's physiological response to stress, how to write a good unconventional essay, and how to build a parallel circuit. But I've also discovered that high expectations and encouragement from teachers motivate students to succeed. From my family, I have learned that living with people who are different from me makes me a better person, and that love and support go a very long way. From my classmates, I have learned how to maintain a good relationship and how to have fun. I have learned how to appreciate each person's uniqueness, and I've learned that variety makes life amazing. Yes, I think John was right. High school is about individuality. And what incredible individuals have come out of the class of 2009. Whether you joined this class in kindergarten or during senior year, you have all made an impression on me and many people seated in front of me. I am sincerely grateful that my life has been touched by each of you. Now it's time for all of us to continue to the next part of our lives. We will go forth having been forever changed by the people at George Mason who have inspired us, taught us, and supported us. I hope that we can put the trying times behind us, like those nights of little sleep, or the moments when our self-assurance or ties with others weren't particularly strong, and remember the great times. I will remember how after hall decorating this year, we ran through the hallways in a stampede, screaming and celebrating being seniors. I will remember the comforting feeling of having friends I could rely on when we had nighttime conversations in the park or on the top of the metro. I hope you too will always remember how people here have positively affected you. I hope you will continue to share your individuality with those you cross paths with and will allow yourself to learn from the extraordinary people you meet. I know that each of you will change the world in some way by being nothing more than yourself. Thank you.
I'd like to dedicate this song to a few people. Miss Mahoney, Mr. Tim Guy for helping me sing today, Miss Braven and Miss Al Bader, and everybody who's helped me throughout my 4 years of high school.
Oh
was amazing. I'd like to now welcome to the stage Mr. Johnny Vroom.
Wow. 7 years ago, our fathers, no, I'm just kidding. Although, I'm sure that I could talk for much more than 5 minutes about the socioeconomic repercussions of Abraham Lincoln's most famous address. Thank you, Ms. Chinchek. In all seriousness, though, I would like to bring you back to freshman year, when we were like scared fawns running from class to class, bumping into each other, occasionally making awkward eye contact with members of the opposite sex, and then quickly looking away as if nothing had ever happened. Now, I want you to think back to looking up at seniors as freshmen. The seniors were huge, experienced, mature, and just plain cool. I would observe the way they paraded around campus like they owned the place, the way they would take their cars out to lunch and bring back big cold cups of iced macchiatos and other Starbucks fare. To me, and I'm sure to many of you, they were the epitome of maturity and what high school stood for. So here we are, and I find it almost impossible to wrap my mind around the fact that we have just completed our senior year and that we were the top dogs. Oh yeah. We were the ones that the freshmen looked up to, literally and figuratively. We were the ones who took our cars out to Starbucks to buy $4 drinks and then rushed back, going 40 on Broad Street to make the bell. But most importantly, we are the ones who are about to walk across this stage today and accomplish what we have been dreaming about for years. Even so, I still feel like the freshman that I was 4 years ago. I know the guys still get really uncomfortable around pretty girls, and girls, correct me if I'm totally wrong, but I'm sure you still get really nervous before a big function and you love to dress up. Yeah, if that is the case, then what exactly has changed during our time at Mason? To answer that question, all you have to do is look at yourself and at those around you. We have evolved from scared freshmen into one of the most comprehensive graduating classes that I have ever witnessed. If our class was a pizza, it would have to be the Super Supreme from Pizza Hut. Really, I mean, that thing is loaded with every kind of topping imaginable, just like the class of 2009. We have ridiculous athletes, actors, singers, dancers, student leaders, academics, and a multitude of other unclassifiable personalities at a level that I have never seen before. Our pizza would be absolutely delicious. And to be completely honest, the thing that makes me most proud about today's festivities is that I get to call myself a part of the class of 2009 and leave high school alongside people like you. That is how I feel we leave George Mason, as a group of friends and as a family. It's not often that most people in a graduating class know most every other person in that class on a more personal level, but that's the reality of this situation. And I am so thankful that I have been able to get my education next to people who are not only my competition and my schoolmates, but who know me personally and make me feel like an integral part of our high school. We weren't always this way, though. I like to use the pep rally as an example of how we've grown. Freshman and sophomore years, we practically got dragged around the gym behind a tug-of-war rope, and our star free throw shooters looked like I would if I actually tried to play basketball. It wasn't a pretty sight. And then junior year, we ushered the class of 2008 out of the pit with their tails between their legs. And then this year, I felt a closeness with all of you that I have never felt before. Schwinn was blasting kids' hands through tables. Anthony was acting like LeBron James minus 100 pounds. And we were such a cohesive unit that I honestly felt as though we were a family. This didn't happen on its own, though. We needed an environment to foster such growth, and George Mason was the perfect place. Only at GM could Mr. Green's growling voice and Mr. Pepper's giggle make me feel comfortable. Only at GM could I tango dance with my Spanish teacher, dip her completely to the floor, and feel totally fine with it. And only at George Mason could we learn how to use the library's computer encyclopedias at least 10 times and not mind. I mean, at least I'll know how to find an article in college. Thank you, Miss Chico. I know that the personal feeling at Mason eased the pains of high school and fostered a sense of community that I share with most every other student that can only be obtained by being immersed in an environment filled with selfless and passionate people. And now we're leaving the familiar halls of George Mason. We're leaving the halls that always seem to smell just a little off. We're leaving the place where one room would be frigid and the next would feel like a rainforest. But most importantly, we are leaving the place where we became exactly who we are sitting in these seats today. We all know that GM was a challenging school academically and that we will be prepared for college life and the challenges that the real world presents us, blah, blah, blah. No. The most important thing that we have gained over the past 4 years is perspective. It's easy to view the world through a narrow lens. It's easy to focus on yourself and to be ignorant and to stay in your comfort zone. But I believe that our time at this school taught us to do what's hard, not what is comfortable. It taught us to embrace people unlike ourselves, to gather the sweetest things from all types of individuals, and to enrich our lives with those things. It taught us to be passionate about the things that are important to us, and to keep an open mind as to what the world has to offer. At a huge cliquey school, none of those things would have been possible, but because of the teachers, the students, and the parents that surrounded us at George Mason, I believe that we have gained that perspective, and that is something that does not come easily. And so, now we stand on the edge of real life. No more oppressive parental guidance, no more concerned teachers, and certainly no more babysitting. I don't know about you, but because of the time that I have spent alongside of you all, I feel more than ready to take it on head first. I'm still the little boy that I was in 9th grade. I just have a different view of the world now, and I will never forget my roots and the incredible 4 years that I have spent at George Mason, and I only have you to thank. So thank you, class of 2009. Thank you for everything. And remember, never, ever stop being a Mustang.
Thank you, Johnny. That was excellent. At this time, I would like to recognize two of my colleagues who are serving as faculty marshals. They led our distinguished faculty into the hall this afternoon. We honor Miss Maria Chico, our librarian media specialist, who is retiring this month after 21 years of service. Let's give her a round of applause. And Mr. Joel Block, who has been recognized as a Virginia Lottery Super Teacher for the 2008-2009 school year. We thank them and we recognize them for their fine service to these seniors and to the many other Mustangs who came before them. I now invite Mr. Carlos Clark to this podium.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Byrd, the class of 2009, would like to provide George Mason High School community with a few tokens of our appreciation for all it has done for us. First of all, we are presenting Mason with a gift that every school needs and every student can utilize, and unfortunately it is not a swimming pool. We are giving the school 2 flat-screen TVs to be mounted in the cafeteria. These will be used to post announcements and display pictures of students engaging in a variety of sporting events, school activities, school trips, and theater performances. The class of 2009 also presents a spirit rock for each senior class that comes through Mason to paint and decorate as they see fit. The rock will be placed near the stadium, allowing all athletes and spectators to touch the rock before entering the stadium. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you turn to the back of your program, you will see that our commencement speaker is a very accomplished individual, and we are honored to have him speak here tonight. Mr. Scott Blake Harris was nominated by President Obama, and in May 2009 was confirmed by the Senate as General Counsel of the United States Department of Energy. Prior to joining DOE, Mr. Harris was a managing partner of Harris, Wiltshire, and Grannis, a nationally known boutique law firm he founded in 1998. He also served in government from 1993 to 1996, first as chief counsel for the Export Administration in the United States Department of Commerce, and then as the first chief of the International Bureau at the Federal Communications Commission. Before entering public service, Mr. Harris was a partner at the law firm of Williams and Connolly. During his 33 years practicing law, Mr. Harris has had extensive litigation, telecommunications law, trade law, administrative law, and national security law experience. He has represented private sector clients before the FCC, the courts, the executive branch, and foreign regulatory agencies. He has also been an adjunct professor at Georgetown University Law School and has written widely on telecommunications law and policy. Mr. Harris has received many honors for his outstanding legal work, including the prestigious Marconi Bell Award from the National Association of Radio and Telecommunications Engineers. He was regularly numbered among the very best telecom lawyers by trade publications and by the Best Lawyers in America, Who's Who Legal, Chambers and Partners, Law Dragon, Super Lawyers, and other services that list the top lawyers from around the world. Mr. Harris graduated magna cum laude from both Brown University and Harvard Law School. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Scott Blake Harris.
So before I say anything, another round of applause for all the student speakers and performers. I've never seen anything like it. So sitting up here, I sort of was sorry I was invited. I don't know what you say to seniors who are dancing the tango with their Spanish teachers. I've got no more advice to offer you guys. I actually was really flattered when I was asked to speak. And I said, look, you know, I really am honored, but what kind of a speech do you want? What can I do to earn this honor? And I was told it was simple. I needed to say very little, speak very quickly, and sit down. I could do that, I thought. And I will. I'll go quickly, but you ought not to. And I'm talking now to the seniors. You ought to take a minute. Look to your right and see who's sitting next to you. Do it. Don't look at me. Look to your left and see who's sitting next to you. Now, I want you to look around this venue. You will never again be in this time and place. You will never again graduate from high school. No matter what other graduations you have in the course of your lives, 40 years from now, when you're my age, this is the one you're going to remember. So take a minute, be mindful, make a memory of this time and this place. It will be with you forever if you do it right. So now to be quick. The word in DC is that you guys had an astonishing senior year. I heard you began by dominating Spirit Week in the fall. I heard the girls' team won the state basketball championship. I heard the girls' team won the cross-country state championship. The girls' team won the state soccer championship. And that the boys' team won the state soccer championship. Okay, so fess up. What are they putting in the food at lunch? Oh, they are, huh? I also heard you put on a killer homecoming dance. I heard 75% of you took something like 10,000 IB courses and that you totally rocked the college admissions process. I also heard the prom was great, and that specifically I was asked not to discuss that in front of your families here today. And now I'm going to make an admission. I also saw some pretty amazing stuff on your Facebook pages. Oh yeah, it only takes one password, baby. But that's between you and me, so don't worry about it. Sitting here today, despite what I saw on Facebook. Oh, you're worried, I could tell. You guys ought to be enormously proud of yourself. You have earned today's celebration, each and every one of you. Congratulations. Not to toot my own horn, I've had a pretty good year too, right? I was nominated by President Obama to be the General Counsel of the Department of Energy. You don't need to applaud for me. It's okay, I'm doing it for myself. I was confirmed by the United States Senate. That was no fun, by the way. And my client, Secretary of Energy Stephen Chu, is a Nobel Prize winner in physics. But the truth is, the best thing that happened to me this year had nothing to do with the President of the United States, had nothing to do with the United States Senate, and had nothing to do with the Secretary of Energy. The best thing that happened to me this year was that my son graduated from high school 2 weeks ago. That you can applaud for. I wanted to be here today, not as a member of the Obama administration and not as an employee of the Department of Energy. I wanted to be here today as a parent of a graduating high school senior. I wanted to be here to say to you what I wished I had the opportunity to say to my son 2 weeks ago, and to say what I think your parents would say to you if they were standing up here with me today. So to paraphrase Dr. Seuss, and like the Lorax who spoke for the trees, today I speak for the parents. As a parent, on behalf of your parents, more important than anything, please know that we love you and that we are so, so proud of you. And when you go off to college next year, or off to work, we are going to miss you terribly. Now, don't get me wrong, we really want you to go. Really, really, we want you to go. And you want to go too, I know. But we will miss you, and our lives won't ever be quite the same. If they could, I think your parents would also today like to give you a bit of advice. So speaking for them, I have 5 bits of wisdom I think they would impart, or more likely they have already imparted if you were listening, but if you're like my son, nah. First, define success correctly. We know you want to be successful. Even before coming here today, seeing the talent around here, we know you can be successful. But to lead a successful life, you first need to know how to define success. And success really is not measured by the size of your car, the size of your house, the size of your bank account, or the kind of car you drive. Success is not measured by your job title, or how many people who work for you, or even who appointed you to your job. It is measured by the strength and the quality of your relationships. What kind of father or mother, husband or wife, sister or brother, friend or coworker you are. Success is measured by whether your life has had a positive impact on others. So as you sit here today, think about the teacher, the coach, the principal, the counselor who made a difference in your life, who made a difference in what you're going to do starting tomorrow. He or she is the definition of success. 2, see the humor in life. Life can be hard. All of us, from time to time, have our faces rubbed in our mistakes. We all have bad days. We all have hard times. But life is immeasurably harder for those who do not see the humor in it. So laugh at yourself, though you guys are pretty good at that, I can tell. But laugh at life. Laugh at yourselves, and don't take yourself too seriously. If you don't take yourself too seriously, you will enjoy life much, much more, and so will those around you. 3, learn from your mistakes. You guys are good. You're very, very good. But perfect, you're not, even, especially with the Facebook. You're going to make a lot of mistakes in life. We all do. And that's okay, under one condition. You have the good sense to learn from those mistakes. So try not to make the same mistake twice, at least not too often. 4th, find your passion. As good as you are, in this world, talent alone isn't enough. The people who are truly successful succeed because they act with passion. They care deeply about what they do. So find your passion, whether it's journalism or music, electronics, politics, art, medicine, teaching, business, whatever it is. But be passionate about what you do. And don't be shy about letting others see that passion, because passion is contagious. 5th and last bit of advice. It's all about character. In the end, your fate is determined by the kind of person you are, your character. And character is who you are when no one is looking. Do the right thing because it is the right thing. And if you're not sure what the right thing is, and times will come like that, I'm not joking about this. Think to yourself, what would my mom say? What would my dad say? If you know they would approve, you are doing the right thing. And if you think they wouldn't, well, you know what that means. Living an honorable life is its own reward. So, again, speaking for your parents, we have no doubt whatsoever, that with humor and passion, by learning from your mistakes, and by doing the right thing, each and every one of you has a bright future ahead. But what about everybody else? Right? You guys are set. What about everybody else? What about our community, our nation, our world? Despite our economic hiccups and the awful things we sometimes read on the front page of the paper, the truth is that all across the world, more people are better off than at any time in human history. In most parts of the world, people's lives are improving rapidly. But with that improvement comes increased consumption of everything. Is that sustainable? Can we make the enormous changes needed to generate the energy, the water, the food, and the clean air so that everyone's lives can continue to get better? That's the sustainability problem. And if we can't solve the sustainability problem, there'll be true problems, problems that make our current problems seem trivial by comparison. But I am relentlessly optimistic, not because of me, not because of the Secretary of Energy. I'm optimistic because of you, those of you in red and white. You're smart, you're well educated, You will, in fact, act with passion and humor and good judgment. And you and others of your generation, not only here but across the globe, have shown more social consciousness than has been seen in many decades. And all of this is essential if you're going to solve the sustainability problem. And if it is going to be solved, it's going to be solved by you. All of us, my generation, your generation, and the generation after you, need you to rise to the challenge. We need you to be the successes you are able to be. And we have faith in you. So today, celebrate. Today, have a party. You can start saving the world tomorrow. Thank you, and good luck to all of you.
That was wonderful. Thanks, ladies. It is now my distinct pleasure to invite Mr. Guy, Dr. McDowell, and Mr. Siegman, assistant principals, and Ms. Kurjanowicz, Director of Counseling, to join me in presenting the diplomas to the class of 2009. Set? Ready? All right. Hold it right here. We got these 5 first. Okay. Perfect. Ready, Anthony? Let's start this show. Anthony William Armstrong, GM Scholar, IB Diploma Candidate, and National Honor Society. Janine Marie Baumgartner, valedictory scholar, George Mason Scholar, IB Diploma Candidate. Carlos Kendall Clark. Shelby Eris Taylor. John Anthony Vroom. Philip Vichayan Ambule. Christopher Chihun An, GM Scholar, IB Diploma Candidate, and National Honor Society. Rontuniaina Anthony Andrian Erison. Tegan Marie Argo. Amarte Kobla Armar. Elisa Aronica. Lady Joanna Baldwin. Corey Cheyenne Bell. Daniel Alexander Ben, IB Diploma Candidate, National Honor Society. Melissa Carolyn Ben, GM Scholar, IB Diploma Candidate, National Honor Society. Sally Rose Blakemore. Trista Storm Borghese. Audrey Lee Borgman. Joshua Miles Brew. Erica Diane Briscoe. Jonathan Sage Kenny Brooks, National Honor Society. Jack Bartle Rorson, GM Scholar, IB Diploma Candidate, National Honor Society.
Ismael Franklin Campero, National Honor Society. Carla Victoria Carballo Torres. Maya Janae Carter. Jack Edward Cashin, valedictory scholar, GM scholar, IB diploma candidate, National Honor Society. Joelle Devon Chandler. Mesa Shehata, valedictory scholar, GM scholar, IB diploma candidate, and National Honor Society. William Chen, GM scholar. Trisha Lee Coffey. Marvin Alexander Cornejo. Chantal Koff Schultz. Mary Rose Croak. William Joseph Cunningham, valedictory scholar, GM scholar, IB diploma candidate, and National Honor Society. Christina Marie Dakiné. Drew William Davies, valedictory scholar, GM scholar, IB diploma candidate, National Honor Society. Taylor Christian Demeter, valedictory scholar, GM scholar, IB diploma candidate, and National Honor Society. Brianna Rose Diffie. Dylan O'Connor Dodson. Derek Lee Rayson Driggers. Simon Robert Farrow. Matthew Stephen Finan. Catherine Scheidley Fletcher, GM scholar. Margaret Elaine Fortenberry, IB diploma candidate. Virginia Doreen Frayne. Johanna Ching Garg, valedictory scholar, GM scholar, IB Diploma Candidate, and National Honor Society. James Keller Godwin, National Honor Society. Rejan Goyal. Brandon Walter Gregg. Allison Grant, GM Scholar and National Honor Society.
Timothy Michael Guy. Michael's father, Assistant Principal Tim Guy, will present Michael's diploma. Colleen Eugenia Haggerty. Isis Hannah. Zachary Michael Harmison. Taylor Stonex Harvey, George Mason Scholar, IB Diploma Candidate. Andrew Hassan. Cynthia R. Henderson. Louis Barkley Henniger. Thomas Patrick Hickey. Evan Thomas Hicks. Robert Giddens Hill, Valedictory Scholar, George Mason Scholar, and National Honor Society. Timothy Matthew Hillegas. Christian John Holmes. Kaliana Elise Eisenbarger, National Honor Society. Evan John Calancis. Paige Elizabeth Kaufman. Kimberly Ann Kinney, George Mason Scholar. Paige Van Gelder Kerrigan. Prakriti Kunal. Ji-hoon Kim. Sunny Kim. Erica Ashley Kleibrink, valedictory scholar, George Mason Scholar, National Honor Society. Timothy Harry Kalia Koning, George Mason Scholar, IB Diploma candidate. Congratulations, Elise. Elise Hannah Kreichman, valedictory scholar, George Mason Scholar. Jose Porfirio Sorto Larios. Abigail Victoria Lewis. Andrew Evan Lieber. Christian Lopez Flores, valedictory scholar, George Mason Scholar, IB Diploma candidate, and National Honor Society. Nicole M. Mazoon. Charlie Stewart Mann. John Stewart Mann. Bonnie Lee McAlpin. Anna Bree McDonald. Jonathan Paul McHugh. Josephina Ann McManus. Reed Mikhail Meany. Megan Lee Millar. Kevin Michael Millard. Vanessa Lisette Mondragon. Taylor Hennessy Moot, George Mason Scholar, IB Diploma candidate. Catherine Morganegg. Aiden Walker Morse. Amelia Catherine Nimitz, valedictory scholar, George Mason Scholar, IB Diploma candidate, and National Honor Society. Katrin Annika Netherton, George Mason Scholar and National Honor Society. Kyle Hayden Newman. Madeline Case Neuter. Scott Daniel O'Hanley.
Jacqueline M. Pasella, George Mason Scholar. Laura Elaine Pepe. Laura's diploma will be awarded by her father, Ron Pepe, representing the school board. She is an IB diploma candidate and a National Honor Society member. Maxime Anne-Marie Perry. Benjamin Smith Peterson, George Mason Scholar, IB Diploma Candidate, National Honor Society. Anna Patillo. Corey Dylan Petruska. Alexa Joy Payton, valedictory scholar, George Mason Scholar, IB Diploma Candidate, and National Honor Society. Alexia S. Plattenberg. Catherine Virginia Patricus, valedictory scholar, George Mason Scholar. Kassim William Rahawi, valedictory scholar, George Mason Scholar, IB Diploma Candidate, National Honor Society. Jeffrey Harrison Ralph, valedictory scholar, George Mason Scholar, IB Diploma Candidate, National Honor Society. Elio Ansa Randriana Solo. David Glenn Ray. Stephen Guy Razzie. Maria Gracia Estrella Rivas Bergerier. My bad. IB Diploma Candidate. Michelle Suzanne Repper, IB Diploma Candidate, National Honor Society. Dane K.K. Robillard. Taylor Renee Robinson. Andrew Orlando Saavedra. Chawalit Sakprayunpong. Inez Sanchez de Lozada. Jacob Warren Savage. Melbert Thomas Schwartz. Jacob Pabst Schwind. Ryan Joseph Sedmak. Matthew Ferrara Sesse. National Honor Society. Nick Frederick Secchi, valedictory scholar, George Mason scholar, IB diploma candidate. Brian C.L. Sham, IB diploma candidate. Ricky Grayton Shaw. Hillary Lee Shea, National Honor Society. Caitlin Ashton Sickler. Henry Edward Smith. Mary Alexandra Smith. Richard Lee Strong. Abigail Charlotte Stroup, valedictory scholar, George Mason scholar, National Honor Society. Benson Kirby Ting. Bryant Chow To. Nathan Joseph Truseski, valedictory scholar, George Mason scholar. Haley Ann Turner. Sarah Masumi Van Buren, valedictory scholar, George Mason scholar, IB diploma candidate, National Honor Society. Stephen Earl Walsh. William Thomas Walton, IB diploma candidate, National Honor Society. I think I got you. Michael Sean Ward. Matthew Dillon Williamson. Justin Chuan Wilson. Alex Yoon. Nicholas Werner Zacher, valedictory scholar, George Mason scholar, IB diploma candidate, National Honor Society. Jordan Clayton Zapula.
Okay, this part's always really cool. I've always wanted to do this. This is my first shot at it. Can't wait. On behalf of the faculty of George Mason, the Office of the Superintendent, and the school board, and with the power vested in me by the Department of Education of the Commonwealth of Virginia, I hereby confer upon you these diplomas in recognition of your fulfillment of the requirements for high school graduation. Mr. Harris, Mr. Pepe, Dr. Berlin, Dr. Guba, faculty of George Mason, parents, relatives, and guests, I present to you the George Mason High School graduated class of 2009. Okay, if we could make it back to our seats before the real partying begins. As we begin to close these festivities, I offer a personal thanks to this class for the inviting reception I have received. You accepted me from the moment I walked into the door, and your friendship is greatly appreciated and will not be forgotten. I hope to graduate many classes from George Mason High School, but there'll never be a first class after this one. A special thank you also to the George Mason faculty and staff who are so accomplished as professionals that my job mostly involves staying out of the way. I wish there was time to recognize each of the faculty and staff, but Ms. Flanagan says I don't have time to do that, so I'm not going to do that this time. But thank you so much for all you do for our children. Now, I bring Class President Johnny Vroom to bring a close to this ceremony.
Friends, relatives, and most importantly, fellow graduates, our time has arrived. I challenge you all to go forth and do great things with your lives. As you turn this corner in your lives, prepare to take a step in a new direction. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you remain at your seats as the graduates begin the recession. They will be followed out by faculty. We thank everyone for coming. Fellow graduates, please rise.